they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen AmadayAShakur show. I'm your host, Queen AmadayAShakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right. Hello, Deronda, Nessa G, We the People, Claudette, G from the Land, Buckhorse DC. All right. Ladybug77 is here. Let's get into it. One box. And thank you, beloved, for being a member for 12 months. All right. Hadassah is here. All right. Shalom to you, beloved. Thank you for your kind words. All right. Buckhorse DC. Let's get ready to get into it. So shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, We the People. Okay, and a big shout out to my moderators for putting in work. I see you, Sheila, Pretty Wings. Okay, so let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes, and then we'll get into the receipts.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, and she sells a beard oil as well. Okay, so now let's get into it because um the deadline for them to be passing out releasing those stamps, the SNAP benefits, is today. Okay, so let's talk about it. Trump administration faces Monday deadline on use of contingency funds for SNAP. So, President Donald Trump's administration is facing a deadline to tell two federal judges whether it will comply with court orders that continue to fund SNAP, the nation's biggest food aid program, using contingency funds during the government shutdown. Now, the U.S. Department of Agriculture plans to freeze payments to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program starting November the 1st. But it said it could no longer keep funding it due to the shutdown. Now, the program serves about 1 in 8 Americans and is a major piece of the nation's social safety net. And it costs about $8 billion per month nationally. Now, the situation leaves millions with uncertainty about how they will feed themselves. Benefits will be delayed in November, regardless of the outcome of the court cases, because many beneficiaries have their cards recharged early in the month, and the process of loading cards can take a week or more in many states. So, Democratic state attorney general or governors from 25 states, as well as the District of Columbia, challenged the plan to pause the program, contending that the administration has a legal obligation to keep it running in their jurisdictions. Cities and nonprofits also filed a lawsuit. On Friday, judges in Rhode Island and Massachusetts ruled separately that the administration must continue to pay for SNAP. Now, they both gave the administration leeway on whether to fund the program partially or in full for November. The USDA has a $5 billion contingency fund for the program. But the Trump administration reversed an earlier agency plan, to use that money to keep SNAP running. Now, Democratic officials argue that the administration could also use a separate fund of about $23 billion. U.S. District Judge John J. McConnell in Providence, Rhode Island, said SNAP must be funded using at least contingency funds, and he asked for an update on progress by Monday. Now, he said all previous work requirement waivers must continue to be honored. During the shutdown, the USDA has terminated existing waivers that exempted work requirements for older adults, veterans, and others. Now, in Boston, U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani ruled the suspension was unlawful and said USDA has to pay for SNAP. Talwani ordered the federal government to advise by Monday whether they will use emergency reserve funds to provide reduced SNAP benefits for November or fully fund the program using both contingency funds and additional available funds. Now, advocates and beneficiaries say that halting the food aid would force people to choose between buying groceries and paying other bills. The majority of the states have announced more or expedited funding for food banks or novel ways to load at least some benefits onto SNAP debit cards. To qualify for SNAP in 2025, a family of four's net income after certain expenses can't exceed the poverty line, which is about $32,000 per year. Last year, SNAP assisted nearly 42 million people, about 2/3 of whom were families with children. Okay, so, well, here's the thing. They're supposed to have the answer in for the judge by today, but House Speaker Mike Johnson said that it may not be until Wednesday when they can get the benefits rolled out. Okay, that's what he said. Now let's go to this report where she says, on my first day at USDA, we told every state to send us their SNAP data so we could make sure illegal immigrants aren't getting benefits. Okay, mints for American families. 29 states stepped up, 21 blue states refused, and 2 sued us for even asking. Okay, the Democratic Party has turned its back on working Americans and built its entire strategy around protecting illegal aliens. They know if the handouts stop, those illegals will go back home, and the Democrats will lose 20 plus seats after the next census. There's a new sheriff in town. and it's called the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Ah, that's what they say. Okay, these are their words, not mine. So let's get into it and see what they're talking about because I find this very interesting. Okay, so just pay attention to how both parties listen. I told you all before, as far as I'm concerned, both parties are in on it. Both parties are in on it because why aren't the Democrats doing anything further to get Trump up out of there? Okay, and to stop all this foolishness and malfeasance that he's engaging in. Nobody's really doing anything. So I'm inclined to think that absolutely both parties don't give a damn about the United States of America. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, they have said in the past that those illegal immigrants were getting benefits. Now, they could sit here, the Democrats, that is, and say that they weren't getting them. But didn't we remember? Don't y'all remember that I reported on? There was a lady in a store, in a bodega, and she left her receipt, and it said that she had like $13,000 left on her EBT card. Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that? What's in the chat if you all remember that? Because I know I'm not crazy. So now they're saying that they've never, ever allowed immigrants to get food stamps. Is that what they're saying? Y'all do remember that, though. She left it right there on the counter, and someone picked it up. The whole thing went viral. Nobody remembers? Oh, okay. There go the ones I was about to say, honey, because I know, because I had a whole lot to say about that. $13,000 of food stamps and EBT. Yeah. That's a whole lot. I don't know anybody in the United States that's here legally as a citizen that gets that much. Okay. G from the land said, keep bringing those receipts. Thank you, beloved. I sure will. And thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, so let's go to this report. We're going in. The Democrats are still blaming the Republicans. I just have to blame them both. Both sides are responsible as far as I'm concerned. The Democrats for doing nothing and Trump's people for doing too damn much. Okay, please pay attention.
Day one of USDA, February 13th, is we sent letters to every governor in America being very clear that no illegal aliens can use SNAP. 0, 0, 0. We asked every state for the first time in history, and this was in February, to send us their data and let us, with Doge and a war room, actually start going through this data to better understand how this explosion of SNAP benefits happened under Joe Biden. We increased almost 40% on this program in just a couple of years under the Biden administration. Of course, we know they were trying to buy the election, but that's a conversation for another time. And since we have asked for that data, 29 states have complied. Of course, almost all the red states, a couple of couple blue states too. But in that data, and I haven't talked about this yet publicly, in that data we've studied about $100 billion in spend. We have found thousands and thousands of illegal use of the EBT card. We have been moving people off of SNAP. We've got almost 700,000 people, I think, we've moved off just since the president took office. We've arrested about 118 people. So this has been ongoing. But, Rachel, to your point, what this conversation has allowed is a national spotlight on a broken and corrupt program. We found one guy in 6 different states getting a benefit. We found about 5,000 people that are dead who are still getting benefits. Like, it is time to drastically reform this program so that we can make sure that those who are truly needy, truly vulnerable, are getting what they need, and the rest of the corruption goes away and we can serve the American taxpayer.
Do you all believe her? Because I don't. I don't believe anything she says. Okay. Songwriter Sonny said, I was today years old when I found out that SNAP is in every state. Really? Yeah, it absolutely is. Now, Trump says he will not be extorted by the Democrats. And then he pushes off negotiations amid shutdown. Let's get into it. Far be it from Trump to push a false narrative, right? Talking about he won't be extorted. Isn't that what he does best, is extort others?
In a new interview, President Trump continued to place the blame for the ongoing government shutdown on Democrats, but offered few solutions as we reach day 34 of this standoff.
All we're doing is we keep voting. I mean, the Republicans are voting almost unanimously to end it, and the Democrats keep voting against ending it. You know, they've never had this. This has happened like 18 times before. The Democrats always voted for an extension, always saying, give us an extension, we'll work it out. They've lost their way. They become crazed lunatics. And all they have to do, Nora, is say, let's vote. I'm not going to do it by being extorted by the Democrats who have lost their way. There's something wrong with these people.
So then what happens on November
is a
15th when the
basket
troops
case.
don't get a paycheck?
Schumer is a basket case, and he has nothing to lose. He's become, I just left Japan, he's become a kamikaze pilot.
Sounds like it's not going to get solved, the shutdown.
It's going to get solved, yeah. Oh, it's going to get solved.
How?
We'll get it solved. Eventually, they're going to have to vote.
You're saying the Democrats will capitulate.
I think they have to.
That how remains a big question, unanswered at this point, because the Trump administration is also grappling with the fact that they have until noon today to update a federal judge who ruled last week that the Agriculture Department must disperse SNAP benefits after nearly 42 million Americans lost benefits Saturday because of the shutdown. A Rhode Island judge says the administration must either make a full SNAP payment by the end of the day today or a partial payment by Wednesday after the White House reversed a plan to use a $5 billion contingency fund to keep the program running. What's a contingency for, if not this? Over 42 million Americans rely on SNAP, and the shutdown has led to long lines at food banks and emergency food distribution centers. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins says the contingency fund won't even cover about half of November's SNAP needs. Still yesterday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said SNAP payments could be made as soon as Wednesday, but that the government had to, in his words, figure out what the process is to make such payments. It all comes as millions of Americans head to the polls tomorrow to cast their ballots in a series of high-stakes elections. It may not be a presidential or a midterm election year, but tomorrow's results could still carry crucial clues about how the American people view the president, Republicans, the Democratic Party, and the political landscape overall heading into 2026. In New York City, more than 735,000 people have already voted in the widely watched battle for mayor. That's between frontrunner and Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani, former governor and independent Andrew Cuomo, and Republican Curtis Sliwa. And then in New Jersey and Virginia, voters are weighing in on the race for governor, with more than 1 million people already voting in each state, as both Democratic candidates seek to close out their campaigns by tying their opponents to President Trump. And in California, redistricting is on the ballot. Voters set to decide whether or not to redraw the state's congressional map to help Democrats gain up to 5 additional seats. It's a counterpunch to Republican redistricting efforts in Texas. Former President Barack Obama hit the campaign trail over the weekend for Democrats, running in those 2 crucial gubernatorial races. First, he was out with Democrat Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, who's currently leading in the polls there against her Republican opponent, Winsome Earl Sears, the lieutenant governor. After taking the stage, Obama highlighted what's at stake here, criticizing congressional Republicans and President Trump.
Let's face it, our country and our politics are in a pretty dark place right now. It's hard to know where to start, because every day this White House offers up a fresh batch of lawlessness and recklessness and mean-spiritedness and just plain craziness.
Do not get a consolidation loan until you see this. Hey, Mario Lopez here, and if you're struggling with $20,000...
For ordinary families, costs haven't gone down, they've gone up. Partly thanks to this shambolic tariff policy. Young people trying to get a start in life are having a tougher time than ever finding a job. Entry-level hiring is down 16% from last year. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees, including a lot of people here in Virginia, have lost their jobs to pay for those billionaire tax cuts.
Obama then headed to New Jersey for a campaign rally with Democrat Mikey Sherrill. Polls in the Garden State show a much closer race between Sherrill and her Republican opponent, Jack Ciattarelli, who has aligned his campaign with President Trump.
Mikey's opponent has now run for governor 3 times in a row. I mean, I believe in persistence, but at a certain point. So 3 times in a row. Other 2 times he lost. So this time his strategy is to suck up to the Republicans in Washington. So Donald Trump called Mikey's opponent 100% MAGA. Not a great endorsement.
Of course, those gubernatorial races in both Virginia and New Jersey take place tomorrow. Want to bring in now White House reporter for The Hill, Julia Manchester. But as we often say, you are a campaign reporter forever. And
Okay, now hold on. Let's go to the part where he really went in on Trump and basically said this administration is full of tricks and no treats.
It's hard to know where to start because every day this White House offers up a fresh batch of lawlessness and recklessness and mean-spiritedness and just plain craziness. We got a president who thinks it's okay to use the Justice Department to go after his political opponents. Hey, wait, don't boo. Vote. They don't hear boos, they hear votes. So we've got a president who replaces career prosecutors with loyalists who will do what he wants, and now he's telling them what he wants is for them to hand over millions of taxpayer dollars that he had to pay in expenses for previously violating the law. We've got a commander-in-chief who fires decorated officers because he thinks they might be more loyal to the Constitution than they are to him. Well, he's deploying the National Guard in American cities, claiming to stop crime waves that don't actually exist. We've got masked ICE agents pulling up in unmarked vans and grabbing people, including U.S. citizens, off the streets on the suspicion that they don't look like real Americans. We've got an HHS secretary who opposes proven science and promotes quack medicine. A top White House aide who calls Democrats, the whole party, domestic extremists. We've got some poor labor economist who got fired for accurately reporting bad jobs numbers that the president didn't like. I mean, it's like every day is Halloween. Except it's all tricks and no treats. And here's the thing. It's not as if we didn't see some of this coming. I will admit it's worse than even I expected, but I did warn y'all. I did. You can run the tape. And by the way, he warned you too, because he said what he was going to do. But the fact is, there were plenty of people who voted for Trump and the Republicans anyway. And it wasn't because they wanted to give up the right to free speech or see our public health systems torn down, but because they were understandably frustrated with inflation and gas prices and the difficulty of affording a home and worries about their children's future, and so they were willing to take a chance. Now, 9 months later, you got to ask yourself, has any of that gotten better? Is the economy working better for you? Because it sure has gotten better for Trump and his family. You know, since he's been in office, the whole crypto business and other ventures have made hundreds of millions of dollars, including from foreign nationals and rich folks investing because they want to stay in the president's good graces. The economy has been really good for some of Trump's billionaire pals and for finance bros and well-connected corporations who've seen their tax bills go down and don't have to worry about all these pesky regulators anymore.
All right, so y'all heard that. Now, it wasn't one lie told. I know some of y'all don't like Obama. He hasn't been the greatest, but he darn sure was a whole lot better than Trump is right about now. Okay, and he didn't tell any lies. Okay, he did warn us about Trump, and in fact, Trump did warn us himself. He told everybody what he was going to do, what he planned, and that's how you know the people that voted for him, okay, the ones that are crying now and having buyer's remorse, clearly didn't care about what he was going to do. They just thought that it wasn't going to happen to them, and so now they're upset and they're whining and complaining. And I don't feel anything for them. I just don't, because they didn't worry about or care about anybody else, okay, having it bad. That's what they didn't do. But what I find also interesting is the fact that uh Trump had all this to say about Biden, calling Biden ugly, a criminal, and all of that, when he has 34 felony convictions. It's like the nerve of this man. Hold on, let me pull this up. This is what he posted on Truth Social. First off, Sophia A. Nelson says, no president has ever spoken about his predecessor like this. Okay, Trump lost the 2020 election badly. He is hateful, spiteful, nasty. Biden was nothing but gracious to him after the 2024 election, as was Harris, and saying this while abroad, despicable. Because this is what he said about Biden. He is a criminal and should be in jail, a major lowlife and failure, an ugly person, both inside and out. I beat him badly and love watching him squirm now. This is what he said about Biden. Now, we all know that Biden has cancer. Okay, we all know that Biden has cancer and is fighting for his life. And this is what Trump has to say. Not, hope you get better, prayers for a speedy recovery. Trump called the man a lowlife failure who's both ugly inside and out, and then bragged and boasted about how badly he beat the man. This is y'all's president. This is the person who's going around the world making the United States look so ridiculous. Okay? Making the United States look so ridiculous. Randa said Trump is wicked. Yeah, he absolutely is. He absolutely is. But let's continue, because I had a few more points I wanted them to speak on before we continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
The attorney general race in the state, of course, there's that texting scandal involving Democratic nominee Jay Jones. President Trump has vocally endorsed incumbent Jason Miyares, the Republican in that race. However, he notably has not formally endorsed Winsome Earl Sears. We'll see if there's any sort of formal endorsement here tonight. We know that Republicans.
Now I want you all to pay attention, because she just said that Trump has not endorsed Winsome Sears. And Winsome Sears should feel like a whole fool. This lady is such a raccoon. And she looks so ridiculous on stage, making a whole fool out of herself. She has said some crazy things, okay, specifically about LGBTQ people. She's just said some crazy things, period. And it's like she's so desperate to be 100% MAGA, but Trump's not even thinking about her, okay? Because Trump hasn't come out and said one word to show that he's endorsing her. Please pay attention. And I doubt he ever will, quite frankly.
Tend to be a day of voters, so we could definitely see potentially this having an impact. But even in New Jersey, where we saw President Trump really narrow the margins in 2024, where we've seen Jack Ciattarelli, I mean, President Obama mentioned he's run for governor 3 times, but he came closer than expected in 2021. You would think that President Trump sees opportunity there. But as you say, Ali, he's very notably staying on the sidelines, at least in terms of campaigning in person.
Yeah, I think the New Jersey race really has some interesting themes that could be instructive going forward. It's a state that we saw go kind of swing into a more reddish category than I think we thought that it might. President Biden winning that state by 16 points in 2020, then Kamala Harris only winning it by 6. A lot of that driven in part by Hispanic voters in the Garden State. And now it's an open question of, will they stay with Democrats? Will they stay with Republicans? Does it matter if Trump is on the ballot? All of that is going to kind of be an open question. But you're right that is, I think, the more interesting race to watch, as it's supposed to be tighter as well. Of course, the other one that we're taking a close look at is happening in New York City. What do you see right now for Democrats who are all but likely to have Zohran Mamdani, not just as the next mayor, but likely as a big face for the future of the party?
Well, first of all, I was struck looking at the campaign over the weekend in New York City, obviously a big weekend for New York with the marathon. But Zohran Mamdani obviously going out into areas, Staten Island, for example, Republican strongholds in New York, but also really revving up the young vote. He was at nightclubs Saturday night going into Sunday morning, really looking to campaign, turn out that vote. Look, it's going to be a glide path, I think, for Zohran Mamdani. It's looking like that. And Republicans very, very hopeful that they will be able to paint him as the face of the party. But I guess the only pushback I have on that is that if you have Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger win in Virginia and New Jersey, I think that's incredibly notable because they're centrist. They both came into office in 2018, also when we saw the rise of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for example. But Sherrill and Spanberger flipped Republican-held seats.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna stop right there because I really want to talk about Winsome Sears. Okay, for just a brief moment. Excuse me, because like I said, this woman is doing the absolute most, and Trump is not even thinking about her. Okay, not even thinking about her. Hold on, and neither are many of the Black people in Virginia, apparently. Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to show a couple of TikToks that people made about her, and then we're going to go to this interview she did on the news.
Barack Obama now anti-Black because he decided not to endorse the Black lady. Let's talk about it. In the race for Virginia governor, Obama has decided to endorse the Democratic candidate Abigail Spanberger instead of the Republican candidate Winsome Earl Seals. And for some reason, people are really confused about that. I am seeing some people say that the NAACP also endorsed Abigail Spanberger, but I'm not seeing that. What I am seeing is people absolutely foaming at the mouth because why would Obama endorse this white woman when he should be endorsing someone who could be the first female Black governor? Why would he?
Let me tell you all something. The people saying that don't look like me. There might be a few of us saying that, but most of the people saying that about President Obama for not endorsing Winsome Sears, they don't look like me. Because people who look like me, who have sense, already know why Obama's not endorsing her. Okay, and why should he? But let's continue.
He be behind her because she's nuts and she's a Republican, and he's of course going to endorse the Democratic candidate. What are we talking about? Besides her absolute failure of a debate where she shouted out that if you fire someone for being gay, that's not discrimination, let me give you just a snapshot of who this woman is. This is something that came from one of her fundraiser emails this year. Slaves did not die in the field so that we could call ourselves victims now in 2025. If they saw the DEI nonsense today, they would say to us, is this what we died for? No, we died for you to have an opportunity. Take it. Keep in mind that this woman was born in Jamaica, okay? On top of that, when Virginia is experiencing the worst unemployment rates that we've had since 2008, and she's completely dismissed it, saying that she wants to talk about real issues. She's also lied about our unemployment rates live on television. And still, we're expecting Obama to back her just because she's Black?
Exactly, like get the F out of here. Okay, they sound crazy as hell. And here's the thing. She's nothing but a whole nother Candace Owens. Okay, that's what she is. I find it so interesting. And then all these disparaging things that she said about Black folk. And yes, she's right. She is from Jamaica. And why is that important? Well, it's important to me because a lot of these people from other countries who look like us, okay, they don't get it. And I find it interesting that they can be in their own countries and know what the hell racism is when they experience it in their countries. But then when they come to America, all of a sudden they forgot what racism looks like. Maybe that's because they're not experiencing it over here like we are. Because we're African Americans and they can't deport us and send us anywhere. And they know it. Okay? They know it. And we're the object of most people's disdain. So I always find that interesting when people come from other countries who look like me and then try to act like, oh, there's nothing to see here, folks. There's no such thing as white privilege. There's no racism. That's only in our country. That's why we came here. Yeah, okay. Make it all make sense. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this other video of someone again talking about Winsome Sears. I hope she loses miserably. If I lived in Virginia, I'd vote for the white woman too. Okay? Whoever she is.
From Virginia, please get your ass out there and vote. And I'm not talking about for James Earl Winston Sears either. I'm talking about for the white lady this time. Please vote for the white lady. Please, please, please. If you are from Virginia, please get your ass out there and vote. And I'm not talking about for James Earl Winston Sears either. I'm talking about for the white lady this.
Hey, now you know that's crazy. When you have black people begging begging people to vote for the white woman, okay? Nobody's checking for her. Nobody is checking for her. Now let's go to this interview she did. Republican candidate for Virginia governor crashes out on live TV, honey. Did she crash out? Did she lose her ever-loving mind? That's what the crowd says. Let's get into it.
President of the United States, the leader of your party. President Trump so far has not endorsed you, and you are the Republican nominee. So why hasn't he endorsed you in this race?
We understand what this is about. The president will make certain decisions. I've already met with him, and that's as far as I'm going to go.
Yeah, because in the other marquee race this fall, the New Jersey governor's race, the president was quick to endorse the Republican candidate there, Jack Ciattarelli. You said you've spoken to the president. What did he say to you when you asked him for his support?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk to you about things that the president and I have spoken about.
You had been critical of the president in the past. In 2022, you said this as he was gearing up for a third run for the White House. Just listen to this first. I want you to listen to this first.
Is this what you're going to keep talking about? Well, I thought we were going to talk about the issues that are important to the voters. I'm talking about the education choices that parents want.
We can get into that. We can get to that in a second.
To talk about the.
Hold on. We can talk about this. I just want you to respond. This is the president of the United States, the leader of your party.
It's important to you, but the people
hold on.
Know,
the viewers need to know what you said in the past. This is the president of the United States, the leader of your party. President Trump so far has not.
She was trying to talk over him, but that wouldn't have worked for me because I would have muted her mic. Like, girl, don't come on here and try to overtalk somebody because you don't like what he's asking you because you don't have the answers. Okay, Trump didn't endorse you, and the question is, why not? Okay, why not? He's endorsed other people. Why hasn't he endorsed you? You're the Republican candidate, lady. Oh, well, I guess she has no answers. Okay, she's going to lose. Okay, she is going to lose. She is nothing but a tool for wanton supremacy, and anybody that looks like me can see it if you have sense. Okay, now with that all being said, let's talk about how these big corporate companies are laughing at us, playing in our faces. Because did you all see the Mariah Carey video, the ad, It's Time? Did you all see that? Once in the chat, if you all saw Mariah Carey's new Christmas ad, y'all know they call her the Queen of Christmas. Okay? They call her the... Jeff ATL, you are wrong for that. I'm not even going to repeat it. Thank you very kindly. Donna, thank you, beloved, for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so songwriter Sonny said every year. Yes, Mariah does have it out every year, but here's the thing. This year, they're poking fun at us. Y'all didn't pay attention to it? Let's look at it. I'm going to show it, but I'm going to mute the sound, likely. Actually, I'll put an overlay on here, and then I'll mute the sound when she starts to, I think she starts to sing or something. I'm going to mute it when it gets to that part, if I remember the part. Lord, I'm probably going to get a copyright issue. But anyway, hold on, because this is the new ad, and I want you all to pay attention because I noticed several things in here. First of all, we've been talking about canceling Christmas. We've been talking about having a boycott. People have been talking about going into stores and stealing things. If they can't get their SNAP benefits, they're going to go and shoplift. That's what people have been saying, right? Well, this ad is saying the same thing. I want y'all to pay attention. Okay. I guess the elf in this ad is supposed to be us. Okay. Please pay attention.
Halloween slate, but now it's time. Spill the tea. Who's the thief?
Busted! Bad news, Mariah Carey. The elves are striking this year. Elf revenge for putting us through holiday hell.
Now, I want you all to pay attention. She said, "Who's the thief?" And he's walking out of there with some of her items in his hands. He's stolen things from her. Okay, so you have people online, specifically on TikTok, saying that if they didn't get their benefits, they're going to start stealing. Now you have an elf who's stealing. Okay, then he says the elves are going on strike. Now, didn't they just talk about having a strike? It was specifically Mayor Brandon Johnson who went viral last week for saying that there should be a general strike, which is a strike where it's not just one industry. Okay, it's not just about one industry striking, like the auto industry, for example. It's a strike across numerous industries. And that's what went viral last week. And now you have an elf talking about a strike. But let's keep going.
And his helper quit. I'm
Hold on, I forgot to put the overlay back.
pawning all this so I can afford elf therapy.
That's my...
Now pay attention. He said, "I'm pawning all of this so I can afford elf therapy." So he can't afford his therapy. That's another problem that's been going on with the government. They've been talking about health care. People have been saying they can't afford health care. So now you have an elf who's a thief. Okay, representative of the general public who's been talking about stealing. Okay, you have an elf talking about going on strike, and you have an elf talking about he can't afford his health care. Do y'all see where this is going? I'm telling you, they're playing in our faces. Now, y'all can think it's a reach, but these are subliminals. Now, he just told her that he's going to pawn the stuff so he can take care of his health care or his mental health, basically. I'm paraphrasing.
I blush, elf boy.
Your lipstick? I'm taking it. Christmas, it's canceled. No bells, no cheer, no glam. Bye, sweetie.
You can't cancel Christmas.
Any last words?
Okay, now I'm going to stop it right there because she starts singing, if I'm not mistaken. But she said you can't cancel Christmas, and that's what they're telling you. You can't cancel Christmas. That's what they're saying, big corporations. They're saying, honey, y'all can't cancel Christmas. Sit down somewhere. Who do y'all think y'all are talking to? Who do y'all think y'all are playing with? All right. So they're just letting us know that they're not taking it serious. Okay, so that's why everyone should be even more so serious and definitely cancel Christmas. Only buy what you need. And if you want to buy a gift for someone, then go to one of the little small owned businesses, not these big corporate entities. Okay. How about do that? We have to be serious or they're going to laugh in our faces. That's what they're doing right now. Okay. Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about, hold on. This judge blocked Trump from Portland. Okay, from bringing the troops to Portland. He's still being blocked on that. No. Before we get into that, let's talk about this whole thing with JD Vance and Erika Kirk. Let's talk about that. Because people had a lot to say. People are speculating and all of that, but at the end of the day, could this just be a setup? Could this be something they want people to say? Is this some other grand distraction? You just never know with the right. You never know what they're up to. Okay, so let's get into it. Everyone, please like and share. I'm going to go to the hug. You all be the judge and let me know if you think that there is something nefarious going on here, or maybe just a friendly hug.
10, the Vice President of the United States took the stage in Oxford, Mississippi tonight. His appearance comes as Turning Point USA makes a stop on its American comeback tour following the death of one of its founders, Charlie Kirk. Hello, I'm Greg Hurst.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Skurlock. He was also joined by Erika Kirk, Charlie's widow, as she spoke to the crowd less than 2 months after his death. WREG's Shay Arthur has been in Oxford all day talking with students and was there as the VP spoke.
That event wrapped up just moments ago. It lasted for about 2 hours or so as thousands packed here into the pavilion in Oxford. The vice president took the stage for about an hour. He also took questions. To a roaring crowd, Vice President J.D. Vance embraced Erika Kirk. VP Vance spoke about Charlie Kirk, who he called a dear friend, and talked about his impact in politics and on himself.
While you have the freedom to live life as you so choose, I have got a responsibility as your vice president to make the American dream as accessible as possible.
Encouraging students to be active and be involved.
If you care about this country, as I know all of you do, don't just complain about social media. Get up and get involved in a campaign. If you want a better policy outcome, even from an administration that you voted for, then get out and get involved and making your voice heard.
Emotional at times, less than 2 months after her husband's death, Erika Kirk thanks supporters and encouraged political involvement.
Every single one of us has a choice to make, whether we stand for freedom or we're just gonna fall for everything else. But I want to encourage you, especially the students here, find your voice.
The vice president also took questions from those in attendance.
You are pushing out policies that hurt us, and these policies are not even solving the problems.
Reminiscent of how Charlie would take questions. Some of the topics varied from religion, Israel, immigration policies, the government shutdown, even the Memphis Safe Task Force, as well as the National Guard deployment of troops in cities. Students we talk with, many who waited for hours in a cold rain, said they felt moved by the rally.
It pretty much just reassured me that God has a plan for our lives, and we just have to trust his plan and trust his timing.
For your news leader, Shay Arthur, WREG News Channel 3.
Okay, so now what do you all think about that? Did you all think it was just an innocent hug? Okay, now here's the thing. Here is why some people thought it was a bit extra or inappropriate, because of some things that Erika had previously said. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Blessed and honored tonight to be able to introduce to you a very, very dear friend and his wife.
Now, I want you all to pay attention, because they claimed that when she said JD, when she was talking about JD Vance, and she said a very, very dear friend, she was smiling. And then when she said something about his wife, the smile faded. I'm like, okay, clearly y'all are reaching.
They are incredible. And I see no one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President J.D. Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight.
Okay, so I want you all to pay attention. It's the fact that she said that she sees some similarities in Vice President J.D. Vance and her husband. First of all, I don't know if she should have said that. Okay, I find it all interesting. Songwriter Sonny said, nah, Queen, something is all off. Odd, weird about this for a reason. We are the intelligent one. Okay. Oh my goodness. Queen Sam says she's thinking about their last encounter. Y'all are nefarious. Okay, so anyway, let's see what the internet is saying about it all. All right. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Because there are some people that made videos about it, which is what brought it to my attention, because I hadn't even seen the the speech.
Of color, I don't care what happens to Usha Vance. I mean, we all saw it coming. A tale as old as time. An extremely educated and successful woman of color marries a white man. As per usual, a woman of color with an extremely promising career gives it all up to bear and raise his children. In case you aren't aware, Usha Vance is of Indian descent. Her parents are immigrants to California and raised her with Hindu faith. She went to Stanford University and met J.D. Vance when she was at Yale Law. As a registered Democrat voting for the Democratic Party for several years, in 2022 she decided to switch teams and register as a Republican. This woman went to Stanford and to Yale Law, only to be disrespected on stage and asked to completely convert her religion, her belief, and her entire identity as a Hindu Indian woman to go ahead and somehow move towards Christianity. I mean, whatever happened to unconditional love and loving your spouse no matter what? Now, maybe I'm a little too conservative and a prude for these conservative evangelical Christians, but I've never hugged my guy friends where it's pelvis to pelvis. I don't even think I've ever held any of the guys I've dated this close. Now, the only time that my pelvis touches that of a man is when I'm straddling him and I'm about to smash. And we'll just leave it at that.
Did y'all hear that? She is a whole hot mess. Okay. She said when she's about to smash. Listen, it was the part of where his hands were in the small of her back and she put her hand in his hair like she was caressing him. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. If somebody hugs my man like that, it's going to be a problem. You put your hands all up in his hair. I'm sorry, boo-boo. What you think you're doing? His hands in the small of some woman's back. I'll say what now? Yeah, we have problems. We're going to have problems, okay? This is all crazy. Now let's go to this next video.
Snatched. That's the only word I can think of right now. And no, I'm not talking about going to the gym and, I'm going to go get my fitness on and get slim thick, get myself snatched. No, I'm saying that I feel like every fella, their whole lives, their lives will be snatched out of their body if they were married and did something like this. I'm telling you right now, Erika Kirk and the hug with J.D. Vance that everybody's talking about right now, I'm going to be real. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it happened, but a lot of people are thinking that something weird is going on here. And I'm going to tell you this. It could be like a Christian hug. You know what I'm saying? But even though the hug doesn't look like so much of a Christian hug, you know what I mean? And then at the same time, married men, to my married men out there and taken men as well, okay? Spoken for men, all right? When you hug another woman that is not your partner, are you doing full body hug? And then the hand on the waist, bruh, the hand on the waist, are you doing that? And are you able to walk back to your partner, to your boo thing without having your head completely removed from your body? I'm asking for a friend because I'm going to be real. Those photos and that moment was weird. And again, aren't you like hugging them like this? You know what I mean? Like butt out like this. Like, yeah, I love you too. Butt out like this. You're not doing the whole pelvis to pelvis, holding the waist, her hand in the back of your head. I'm telling you right now, you are not going to be alive the next morning. Am I wrong or am I wrong? I'm just saying. Fellas.
He said you're not going to be alive the next morning. Okay. Absolutely nefarious.
I ain't no body language expert, right? But I am an expert in knowing when somebody hunching. I've hunched a few people in my day.
We don't care.
God damn it, woman! I've hunched people in my day, right? I know for a fact they're hunching. You could smell it through the phone. You could smell the Marlboro Reds and the salt and pepper and paprika through the damn phone. The way she is caressing that man's hair. Come on, man. You know, Erika, there was other ways to get a divorce. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. Now, I ain't no body language.
I am so done. Hold on, just a couple more.
Holy shit, they are trying to replace Usha Vance with Erika Kirk, because Erika Kirk and JD Vance is their Christian nationalist wet dream. And you won't convince me otherwise. Because what is this? What is this body language? When did we start putting our hands up in the hair of our friends when we hug? Yeah, no, you don't. This is weird. Oh, and then there's this one. JD, why are your hands so low? There's no reason for them to be on her hips, but there they are. But if that's not enough, here is her introducing him at Turning Point.
I am tremendously blessed and honored tonight to be able to introduce to you a very, very dear friend and his wife. They are incredible. And I see no one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do.
And if you're not convinced yet that they're trying to replace her with Erika Kirk, this is him when asked by a student about him and his wife's difference in like their religious beliefs, and he ends it with this.
Do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way.
He wants her to fall in line. He wants her to be a Christian nationalist just like him. And if he can't convince her, he'll find a new one.
I absolutely believe it. I absolutely believe it, because here's the thing. JD Vance has seen how these people, who is their base, okay, a majority of their base, how they feel about Indians. Okay, we saw how they did Cash Patel and Vivek, and he saw it too. And even when they went in on them, and even went in on JD didn't defend his wife or his children at all. He did not defend his wife or his children. And you just heard him say that he wants her to feel the same way that he feels about church. That lady's Hindu. Christianity is not her religion. So what's he going to do? Swap her out? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But here's a lady who can break down body language, apparently. And here's what she had to say.
Several requests to decode this video with Erika Kirk and JD Vance. Let's look at JD Vance's side of the hug first. He gives a tight hug with a pat on the back. So some people often pat people on the back. That's just kind of how they manage a longer hug. And for some people, that patting on the back is what they do to comfort someone else. He also rests his hands after the hug for a second on her waist area, which can be a sign of affection and or romantic interest. It's the move to slide her hands up and grasp and cradle his head that is getting so much attention. This is a move that we women do when we are in a deep kiss, which is why it looks so very intimate. Erika then ends her hug by grasping his shoulders, which is a sign of affection and closeness. That said, grief can do really wonky things to humans, but this is wonky for sure. I'm Annie Sarnblad, and I teach microexpressions and all things nonverbal.
All right, she said it was wonky, so what y'all say? I find it all interesting. Now here's the last one. This one right here, she might be on to something. Please pay attention. Essential Oil Queen said that's not grief.
Offer this. They want us to say that the two of them are having an affair. They know that that's what we're going to start saying. That's on purpose. They are creating a spectacle intentionally. Because in this attention economy, controversy gets attention. And it also keeps Erika Kirk relevant. But it does something else too. It humanizes JD Vance. Now he has to defend himself against these mean liberals that are saying that he's cheating on his wife. He's really just helping this poor grieving widow get over her husband, who was his best friend. The reason why they're trying to humanize JD Vance and keep Erika Kirk relevant is I think that they're gearing up for a 2028 president run with JD Vance and Erika Kirk as his VP. So what do they need to do to keep our attentions on the two of them? They create controversy. Now we're going to be watching the two of them and talking about it. While on the right, they're going to be like, look at these mean liberals saying these horrible things about JD Vance and this poor grieving widow. That's a message they're going to send to the right. They need us to say these things about Erika Kirk and JD Vance. Don't fall for this. They want us to say that the two of them are having an affair.
Now, she has a point there. That could be the case. You never know, because like I said, you can't put anything past them. They're always looking for the next big distraction to keep us from talking about Epstein and the files, okay? And the rest of the pervs that haven't been exposed. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, a judge has blocked Trump again for his move on Portland. Okay, he wants to take the National Guard there, talking about Portland was on fire. Remember he was saying all that? U.S. District Court Judge Karen Emmergut on Sunday temporarily extended an order blocking the Trump administration from deploying National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon, saying the government failed to justify the move. Now, in an order issued Sunday evening, Emmergut preliminarily enjoins Defendant Secretary of Defense Hegseth from implementing memorandums that authorize the federalization and deployment of National Guard members from Oregon, Texas, and California into Portland. Now, the injunction will remain in effect until the court issues its final opinion on the merits by Friday, November the 7th of 2025, no later than 5 p.m. No later than 5 p.m. on that date. Now, Emmergut said that the court witnessed 3 days of testimony and argument in a trial that ended 48 hours ago, reviewing more than 750 exhibits, many of them voluminous. And she wrote that the interest of justice requires that this court complete a thorough review of exhibits and trial transcripts before issuing a final decision on merits. Now, ultimately, she assessed the Trump administration's other actions and found the government's justification lacking, saying based on the trial testimony, this court finds no credible evidence that during the approximately 2 months before the president's federalization order, protests grew out of control or involved more than isolated and sporadic instances of violent conduct that resulted in no serious injuries to federal personnel. Now, the judge further concluded that the president likely did not have a colorable basis to invoke either Section 12406.3 or Section 12406.2 to federalize and deploy the National Guard to Portland's ICE facility. Now, Emmergut also pointed to the testimony from local law enforcement officials who had firsthand knowledge of demonstrations as key to her conclusion that the protests did not amount to a rebellion. I want y'all to pay attention because I told y'all this is what that devil was up to. I told y'all this is what the devil was up to. Trump is sitting up here trying to make it look as though there's a rebellion. There is rampant civil unrest. He wants to declare martial law. Okay, now the judges said that they have not proven, okay, that any of this stuff is going on. They have not proven that there is anything that remotely amounts to a rebellion. That's what he called it. Now I want y'all to think about that. And then he has these ICE agents out here like they're the Gestapo, okay, over in Germany, just hopping out, harassing folks, racially profiling, mask on, not identifying themselves, whisking people away. All this stuff going on, and he's still not done yet. But so for now, at least the judge has blocked him because Portland doesn't want them coming there. Anyway, with that all being said, let's go to Little Miss Jasmine Crockett, because she had a lot to say about Trump trying to talk about her IQ. I mean, we all know that he's the last one who should be trying to say anything about somebody's IQ. I'm going to share my screen. Lights up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Is the Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. And thank you so much for being here, because I just think to hear everything that is at stake this week as it's really coming into clear view now with this government shutdown dragging on. Do you believe this will be the week that Congress comes to an agreement here?
I have no idea. I mean, you started off talking about the fact that the president is in Japan. The president has time to do everything but what he needs to focus on. In fact, we heard the press secretary say that his main priority is the ballroom that no one asked for, the ballroom that requires him to destroy historic pieces of the White House. And so it doesn't seem like he's interested. It is my hope that his friends start calling him Jeff Bezos when those Amazon planes are not flying. Hopefully, he will listen to them, because he's not listening to the pain that the American people are suffering through. As again, you played a clip and he said everybody's going to be in good shape. Who is everybody? Because when people are hungry, which people were already hungry in this country, we have not done right by those that have been struggling, because $6 a day to eat doesn't fix it. And you say everybody's going to be in good shape as you are putting more money into your son's pocket, as you are saying that we should take American taxpayer dollars and put them in your pocket to the tune of $280 million. I mean, I don't know who everybody is, but it is not the average American.
Yeah, and that context of the comment from Caroline Leavitt, she was asked if the president was working on any other renovations when it came to the White House, and she was saying his focus was the ballroom. But to your point about what the president said when he was leaving Washington, he was asked, are they going to find a way to pay for SNAP benefits, because they've found ways to pay for some other things, at least for parts of this shutdown. The USDA website right now says this. I want people to just read this. It says Senate Democrats have now voted 12 times to not fund the food stamp program known as SNAP. Bottom line, the well has run dry. And the USDA website says at this time there will be no benefits issued November 1st. Do you worry that people will blame your party when they do not have those benefits any longer?
I don't worry about that. I think that's why the White House has decided that they would just violate, well, I mean, they consistently violate the law, but we know that this is absolutely a violation of the Hatch Act. And so they are trying to make sure that they can place blame, because the reality is that they control the White House, they control the House, they control the Senate. And typically, when you are an adult in politics, you sit down and you work together to come up with a solution. And right now, Democrats are trying to make sure that the CBO, or the Congressional Budget Office, doesn't have to estimate how many more deaths are going to come at the hands of Republicans who refuse to make sure that people in this country can have health care. There seems to be a theme. Yes, we will get rid of your health care so that we can go and bail out Argentina. Yes, we will get rid of your food that is on your table, whether we're talking about the farmers who are not going to be able to put food on our tables because there are record bankruptcies that they are filing right now, or if we're talking about SNAP benefits.
Okay, absolutely no lies detected. And here's the thing, pay attention, because she said that Trump's administration is currently in violation of the Hatch Act. Okay, did y'all know that? And then that's a federal law that limits certain political activities of federal employees, as well as some states, okay? DC and local government employees who work with federally funded programs. Now, it aims to ensure that federal programs are administered in a nonpartisan manner, protect employees from political coercion, and maintain public trust in government. The act restricts employees from engaging in political activity while on duty, using government property, or using their official authority to influence an election. Trump does all of those things, does he not? Okay, does he not? It also helps protect government employees from being pressured by political groups or superiors to participate in political activities or donate to campaigns. It promotes fairness and helps the government programs helps to ensure that government programs are run fairly and that federal jobs are awarded based on merit rather than political affiliation. Well, that's something Trump is definitely in violation of, because we all know that many of these people that he has hired as his political affiliates or his people to be in his cabinet, these people are absolutely not qualified for their positions. Okay. We already know that. And that attorney that he hired in Virginia, okay, I forget her name, Haley something, y'all knew who I'm talking about, or what is her name? Ashley, whoever, Lindsay, that's her name. That lady is definitely not qualified. Okay, she's been doing insurance claims cases. And what else has she done? Well, not much. Okay, he hired that lady because she's pretty. And that's not a reason to hire someone for such a position. Okay, please pay attention.
Like they seemingly, it is a matter of we've got the king and he's just all about eating his cake and don't worry about the poor little peasants. But that's where we are right now.
You've talked about the benefits of SNAP before. You've talked about your concerns about cuts to the program. Do you think come Saturday, when people don't have that access, millions of Americans who need that and rely on it, that they will say, okay, this fight for healthcare premiums that you're fighting for Obamacare subsidies, that is still worth it if they're not able to get that money? Do you think that that's the calculus they'll make?
I do think that they'll make that calculus. It'd be different if we were fighting for, a random plant in a specific part of the country. But at the end of the day, we're talking about the very basics. Like, it is really sad when you are in a country that is not a third world country and people are basically begging their government to do the basics. We're not talking about luxuries. It should not be a luxury that you get $6 a day, right, to eat. Like, that should not be a luxury. And we should be looking at the fact that there are funds available and he is choosing not to use those funds. Or when you start to talk about your big billionaire friends as you're continuing to violate laws, why is it that you're not looking out for people that are hungry? Why aren't you looking at the fact that rural America overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump and rural America uses more SNAP benefits than urban America? I mean, like, these are your voters, right? So, like, why aren't you doing those things? So I think that the question should be, which party is truly about being pro-life? Which party is truly about the entirety of the United States? And which party is really more patriotic? I would say that he is a party of him and other rich people and nobody else. And I'm hoping that all Americans can finally wake up and say, we are going to prioritize ourselves. We are going to look for people that maybe we don't think they're super funny or super entertaining, but they will not try to deal death to us with every single policy that they hand out. And ultimately, if people end up going hungry because SNAP benefits end up drying up, this is just a preview of what is going to happen as relates to what they did in the big ugly bill.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of questions about what happens when the bill that the House passed to go through the end of November runs out, what that looks like. And the president was talking to reporters on Air Force One today. He had a lot to say in that. We're going to show people that during the show because he talked about a third term. He talked about his recent visit to Walter Reed, but he also brought you up at one point while he was speaking with reporters. I want everyone to listen to what he said about you.
They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test, have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard, they're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe, When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions.
It was a question about not ruling out a third term, but what's your reaction to what the president said there?
Listen, I'm waiting on a reporter, and maybe it'll be you, Caitlin, that finally asked him what is his IQ, because he is constantly talking about, he doesn't even know what a low IQ is. He don't even know which scores are low. And I can guarantee you that whatever score, if he's taken one anytime recently, I'm sure that his qualifies as low. Listen, he's never been known to be an Einstein. This is not a guy who got in on merit when it came to going to college. This is someone who, but for him being born with a silver spoon, probably wouldn't have got into anybody's institution, unlike me. So, you know, I am not worried about that. And I wish people would look at the fact that you have a president of the United States who consistently is obsessing over two women of color that are members of the House. You are the president. You have a lot more power than we do, but obviously you consistently feel threatened. And that is why we have seen, the attacks on black women in general from this administration. I don't know what black woman hurt him in his past, honey, but it is really taking him through it. But I really wish, for the sake of this country and honestly for the sake of the world, that he would focus on his real job and stop worrying about me. My constituents will worry about whether or not I have an adequate IQ, even though that's not the test that he's taking. And it's up to them to decide. It's not him. He can't hire me or fire me, unfortunately for him. And as it relates to a third term, people need to listen to what he's saying. They need to listen to that, because that is a very scary thing. It is unconstitutional. I do think he's being serious. He has hats that are made. He's starting to get people primed for this. There are people that are riding around in wrapping vehicles with Trump 2028. This is a serious threat. We know that he didn't want to leave the House last time, and that's why we ended up with January 6th. So no, people need to think about this seriously and understand that the people around him consistently break the law, and the Supreme Court has said that, yeah, he has immunity. So, I don't know how they will rule on whether or not he gets immunity when he does something and he is not duly elected, because there are no third terms in this country. But we really need to be concerned, especially as his friends are the ones buying things such as Dominion.
All right, so y'all heard that. Listen, Trump knows darn well he is not going to take he is not going to take any IQ tests. It's definitely not going up against Jasmine or AOC. Okay, that's what he's not going to do. He's just talking to hear himself talk. That's all he's doing. Okay, just running his mouth. But anyway, we're about to be out of here. But before we do, let's talk briefly about all of these people fired. All of these black and brown people fired from CBS. Okay, what do y'all think about it? Now Gayle King is talking about she's stepping down after she previously denied allegations when people questioned her about it to begin with. What I find interesting is this woman here. This is Bari Weiss. Okay, she's the new editor. And since she has come, she has gotten rid of, the first thing she did was she got rid of the culture division at CBS, the race and culture division. She ended that real quick. Like, let's just get this on up out of here. We don't need this. What do we need race and culture divisions for? Okay, I'm about to get rid of all these black and brown folks, so surely we don't need that. Okay, that's first on my agenda of things to get rid of. That's what she clearly was saying to herself. Massive black firings at CBS. But what about Gayle King? We're not saying it was racism that led to these people being fired, but we aren't saying it wasn't. So black people keep getting fired in 2025, but this time it's not the Trump administration letting people go. CBS has massive layoffs this week. In fact, CBS reportedly gave everyone who was in charge of covering race for the network their marching orders. So Bari Weiss, who is now the editor-in-chief of CBS News, completely dismantled the race and culture division because, well, who cares about what's happening with black folks or to black folks? Trey Sherman, a now former news producer who worked in the division that is now dismantled and for the now canceled CBS Evening News Plus since February, claimed on a viral video posted on TikTok, about the firings that were race-based, he said. He did not mince his words, claiming every person who got let go was a person of color, yet every person who got relocated and got to stay is white. Did y'all hear about this? Did y'all hear about this? I find it interesting. And then there's the drama happening with Gayle King, Oprah's best friend. Okay. So, despite her putting her life on the line for the network, things are not looking great for her right now. According to multiple outlets, she's almost certainly getting the boot. Okay, there does seem to be some confusion about what's happening exactly. She said that what she's hearing in the building is different from the press reports, saying all I've been told by everybody in this building is that they want me here. They like the job I'm doing. I like the job I'm doing. CBS denied reports that King is stepping down and said they had no discussions about her contract that ends in May of next year. There is more. The co-host of CBS Saturday Morning, Michelle Miller, basically who is Black as well, and Dana Jacobson, they were both let go. And the CBS News Bureau in Johannesburg, South Africa, has been shut down as well, with coverage of Africa shifting to London. What do you all make of this? This definitely sounds like somebody has come in and decided that they're going to clean house. Okay? Paramount, the parent company of CBS, was sold to David Ellison's Skydance Media back in August. Ellison, now the CEO of CBS News, has not been quiet about his affinity for the president. In fact, his love of Trump is why the creator of Yellowstone said he would not work with the company anymore. So Trump and his administration are not the ones doing the firing, but many folks on social media believe the commander-in-chief could be influencing what's happening. Well, of course he is. CBS already gave Trump that darn money that they didn't have to give him because there was no way in the hell Trump was going to win that lawsuit against them. They gave him that money because they want Trump to do them a favor, okay, because they need to get some things passed. Okay, so I already told you all about that. And I find this all very interesting. Okay, I find this all very interesting. So, no, Trump is not the hand that rocks the cradle, but he knows who the hand belongs to that rocks the cradle. This person loves Trump, has an affinity for him. Well, that will explain why all these people are getting the can. And Gayle King, don't be so secure because we already know that Trump doesn't like you. Okay, so she might end up on the chopping block. This is all. Hold on, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
CBS firing like all the black people there? Like all the black people there. Recently, I came across this brother's video on TikTok and he was claiming that CBS got rid of all the black and brown people on his team, including himself. Not only this, but all the white members were reassigned. Shortly after that, I began to see that there were rumors that Gayle King was about to be asked to leave, which initially she denied, but as of Sunday, it seems that she's going to be asked to leave. Contributor Lisa Ling was also told that her services would no longer be needed, and little by little, more and more stories began to surface. And most, if not all, fingers are pointing to this person right here. This is the new editor out at CBS, and her name is Bari Weiss. Within 1 week of getting her new role, she said, "We're all the black and brown people, 'cause y'all are out of here." Which got me thinking, wasn't CBS just in the news for something similar to this? Oh, that's right, they gave Stephen Colbert the boot. And to be fair, or somewhat fair to CBS, this isn't really a CBS problem, it's more of a Paramount problem. Which I understand for some people might be an issue, but for me, I've been marked safe from this list because I'm not watching any of this stuff. Oh, and there's one more thing I forgot to mention. Before Ms. Weiss decided to fire all the black and brown people, she made sure to end the race and culture division at CBS because who cares about race and culture? At this point, I don't know why people are still watching CBS. Wait, is CBS firing like all the black people there? Like all?
I don't know why people are still watching CBS either. I don't have a clue as to why people are still watching CBS after hearing this. Okay, but hold on. Let's go to a couple more videos. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Honey, they getting rid of them. They are getting, and Trump is behind it. We already know.
Producer at CBS News said all the people of color on his team were laid off, but the white producers were kept. I'm Major League, and this is news you need to know. Former producer Trey Sherman revealed in a social media post that after CBS News canceled his show, he discovered only producers of color were let go, while white colleagues were reassigned within the network.
I just got laid off from my job at CBS, and every producer on my team who got laid off is a person of color. Every person who gets to stay and will be relocated within the company is a white person. It wasn't until I went downstairs thinking that me and all of my colleagues had been laid off that I found out that it was only the people of color. So I went one by one to my white colleagues. Are you getting laid off? No. Are you getting laid off? No. Are you getting laid off? No. Are you getting laid off? No.
For context here, this targeted culling comes after new editor-in-chief Barry Weiss took over at the network. Weiss, a self-described Zionist and fierce opponent of wokeness in the media, has no broadcast news experience and has never been a journalist. And her first move as editor-in-chief was to gut CBS News' race and culture unit and to lay off all of its producers of color. So this isn't just layoffs due to the economy. This is a structured elimination of diverse voices. And this is CBS News lurching aggressively to the right. I said it before and I'm going to say it again. If you are Black, Latino, or LGBTQ, your voices are being systematically silenced across corporate media. If you have something to say, grab a microphone, grab a camera, get on social media, and start building your platform today. But I want to know what you think. Drop your thoughts.
Okay, I find it all very interesting. Now, one box says it's Project 2025 influence. Yes, it is. Okay, to silence the voices of certain people, okay, on the media as well as social media. All right. And I want you all to pay attention because at the end of the day, it's going to be a whole lot of things that are changing. Remember, I just told you all the other day that now they're saying on TikTok, you can't be on there talking about medical things unless you're a doctor. You don't need to be on there talking about law unless you're an attorney. Okay, this is what they're saying. They're changing the rules, honey, around here to avoid misinformation, they say. Okay, that's what they're talking about. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
Thought of Barry Weiss at CBS on her way to fire all the black people in the building. One of the first things she did was to eliminate the race and culture unit because who gives a fuck about that shit? There's also this because, of course, she was a DEI hire. And a young producer, Tony Sherman, says he got dumped and all the black people on his team got dumped and all the white people got reassigned.
I just got laid off from my job at CBS, and every producer on my team who got laid off is a person of color. Every person who gets to stay and will be relocated within the company is a white person. Now, in my meeting with the executive who told me I was getting laid off, I specifically asked him if
we went from DEI and race-based hiring to race-based firing. I mean, why would a news organization need to have black people in it? Here's a shot of Barry Weiss at CBS on her way to...
He said it was a shot of her on her way to CBS to fire all the black people. What do y'all have to say about it? What do you all have to say about it? At the end of the day, I bet you they're not going to file a lawsuit because they should. That's the first thing I would be doing. Honey, you fire me, you better have a good reason. And if you don't, well, you're going to see me in court, okay, unless we settled outside of it. So I'm just going to sit back and wait and see what they're going to do because I really think Trump is behind this. And especially when they said this woman has no journalistic experience. Okay, she's never worked in broadcasting before. Why was she chosen for the job as editor? Like, make that all make sense. That definitely smells like Trump. Okay, so anyway, that's the news for now, beloveds. Just remember that big corporations think that we're just joking around about this Christmas boycott, that we can't do it, we won't do it, that y'all are not going to be out here doing anything other than spending your money with them. Okay, that's what they're pretty much saying. Talking about you can't cancel Christmas. Okay, they already told y'all how they feel. Now, the question is, are they going to release those SNAP benefits today, or shall we have to wait till Wednesday to find out exactly what went down? Because I'm telling you all, Mike Johnson said it's probably going to be Wednesday. Okay? I hope that's as far as it goes. Give these people their benefits. Trump out here trying to start anarchy, trying to start a rebellion. He told on himself. He has people thinking that the protest was a rebellion. That's what he wants, like I told you all. Okay, so anyway, I may be back later at about 6:30. At about 6:30 or 7. Okay, so make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you haven't been receiving the notifications. All right, I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got